Good evening, and welcome back to Replay Remember Me episode 7 and the 5th chapter of Antoine's journal. In the last episode we get deeper insights of the way how the Sensen works. Neo Paris was built from the remaining city, and Antoine was given us a first glimpse of the origins of H3O. If you have watched the last episodes, you're already familiar with the purpose of this Let's Play. This will be the last chapter of Antoine's journal. It is called The Resolution and covers the years from 2065 to 2084.
Today the first sense and device implants takes place live. And worldwide, no less. A simultaneous word broadcast from each memorized laboratory. The first customers are taken from each carefully selected racial and economic backgrounds. The rollout of products begins. The implant opens many new doors, many new temptations. My lifelong vision finally realized, but is this a vision that Molly and I shared?
The future cries out for your strong arms and bright minds. The Europe we love, our last best chance, will be rebuilt. We have the technology which needs you. Neo Paris, Neo You. Sensen, the new sensation implant. Available on reduced subscription. Unlock the new you. She's there, waiting. Of all possible futures, you are the best. Sensen, from Memorize.
As I wander the refugee camps on the outskirts of this Neo Paris, trying to clear my mind and get away from the day's excitement, I see how cheap mind gimmicks buy the people's loyalty, like the mindless street addicts of my youth. As easy as it is now to change memory, I struggle to remember how it was for Molly and me in Africa. To remember what it was that guided us. What moral principle, what desire, what was the world we envisaged? This for all I have done, I can't seem to recall. Only that it wasn't this world of greed, lessons unlearned, of fear and the love of strong men. No, Molly at least wanted something else. The poor pay overprice for a cut-rate product, the rich pay overprice for an undeveloped idea. In effect, cheap mind tricks with belts on. The first memory wipe death is a suicide, of course, swiftly followed by a murder. It's not the tool, it's the user, they say, and have done for over 100 years.
The controversial yet eagerly adopted Sensen implant today claimed its first victim. Vincent Applin, 63, longtime resident of what is now the flooded 6th arrondissement, was found brain dead on his barge after an apparent suicide. A total memory wipe hack had been found attached to his Sensen implant just 3 weeks after it had been fitted. Memorize spokeswoman Michelle Degrade was quick to assert that tampering with the device voids any insurance or culpability on behalf of the company. Detractors of the Memorize range of products have always argued that this is what happens when the fail-safes are ignored and vulnerable people are allowed onto the Sensen plan. With technology blurring the boundary between person and product to such an extent as this, surely the debate will not go away.
Dear Charles Cartier Wells, I am writing to formally notify you that I am resigning from my position with Memorize. My last day of employment will be December 16, as per the responsibilities under the terms of my employment contract. Sincerely, Antoine Cartier Wells. The hand that signed the paper felt the city. I decide to resign from the board of Memorize. After 50 years. My emotions are mixed, but most of all I feel relief. I am being written out of history, just as I start to fully understand it. 50 years to understand, and as I stand before you, I am a witness to this understanding. My mind is empty, but I have become better at listening. Teaching. In the morning, programming and how to adapt Memorize OpenAI software. In the afternoon, philosophy, action and context, products and meaning. Peace hasn't brought prosperity, but the slow build-up to another conflict, and that everywhere there is poverty for the masses and great wealth for the few. Don't they see it will happen again? That this is where the hate and violence comes from? Hacked. The impenetrable security of the Sensen implant hacked within a month of going to market. The indomitable human spirit. After all the corrupted memories I have helped unleash on the world, it feels right that my actions are now guided by a simple and pure memory. Molly and her vision for the world is what I hold up to guide me in these dark days.
In the aftermath of the suicide of Vincent Applin and the Sensen manipulated murder of 2 drug dealers in the high-rises of the 18th, the surveillance and intrusive ability of the Sensen implant has come under intense scrutiny. In a new twist, police are now warning the public of the emergence of so-called errorists, who are bent on the destruction of the Sensen device and the corporation behind it, Memorize. Who these people are, nobody knows, but their activities all bear the same hallmarks. From the smashing of public surveillance cameras to the disabling of credit polls and infostacks of Neo-Paris, these errorists seek to take the city offline.
However disguised as a healer of our psychic wounds, a mender of our broken souls, what a pack of lies. It's all about money, stupid, someone once said. Who can doubt them now? Consider the leapers, the new enemy, ravaged by their addiction to the products of this irresponsible company. Now buy or sell. What code? What secret messages? What mind control mechanism? And if you're watching this via Sensen, then have I not proof the system can be hacked?
Down here in the basement of the new world, with the broken, the reconfigured and the damned, this is where I can really make a difference. People come to me and I bind them with ideas and knowledge. I just hope one day that what I teach will mean something to this world. There are people who will always take words and philosophies too literally. But never did I think my words, my thoughts, my teachings would inspire such a movement as this. It is not what I intended. The chaos, disorder and loss it brings is a heavy price to pay. If I could take back my words, my thoughts, would I still pass them on again? Have they sown enough good to justify these few taking such a direct path? Charles comes to me. Dangerous for him to be seen with his own father. I'm surprised he knows where I live. Well, maybe not. He has cracked the memory engine. I can't believe he finished my research, saw it through. Tells me we can now remix memory. Upload, download, store, replicate, recycle and combine human memory. He offers it to me, to be the first.
The public are advised to avoid the so-called Leaper colonies of deep Paris. These memory junkies are dangerous and unpredictable, and will do anything for their next fix. Beware! Reports of citizen mind wipes being carried out by packs of Leapers have been contained, and upload any new information. Protect your memories, old and new. The Leapers will steal them.
I notice a young girl, slight, dark-skinned, watching me from the back of the room. For just a moment she reminds me of Molly. God knows why. This is the first time Antoine sees his granddaughter Nil. She has to be 21 or 22 years old, depending on the particular date. While there is a Mnesis memory within the game in episode 3, which stated that Nilin is about 25 years old in the year 2084, there's also a much bigger hint in the 5th episode that she might be a little older. But you have to be patient until our journey is there. This won't be the last time Antoine meets her. During the events of the novel, they will meet again. But sadly, until his death in 4 years, he will never know that she's his granddaughter. Charles repeats his offer. I actually think he feels sorry for me. I give in. I can hardly walk anymore or see, but I remember everything perfectly. I'm happy for Memorize to store my memory, but watching it all now on fast forward, I want none of it back, save one thing. A simple dream of a time long past, when I first set eyes on a girl in sunny California. Her smile and my clumsy hello. Tomorrow I'll ask Charles to set my mind free. Finally, I'll be with her again, and I can let myself be still. The dice have been rolling for so long now. Surely they are coming to an end, and must fall as they will. The Errorist's hunt continues. Some say Memorize is seeking one in particular, a girl called Nilin. Others assure us that she has already been captured. They say she has some kind of ability, unlike any of the other Errorists. The ability to remix a memory. This reminds me of a conversation I once had with Charles. After all my failed attempts to remix my own memories, he said he was finally close and he had found the key. It was always closer than you imagined, he said, but would add no more. Somehow this girl, this Nilin, has this ability. But how? What is it about her that means she can control others in such a way? It is godlike in some ways. If this is true, she is a very interesting individual indeed. One I would have liked to meet. If the stories of the Bastille prison are to be believed, that opportunity may never arise. There's a bounty set on Nilin's head. 300,000. What is it? Euro? Or a new currency after the European economy crashed? Euro? I don't know. Okay, everybody who helps to court or kill Nilin is paid with 300,000 euros. Sounds like a lot of money. But in more than 60 years from now and several crises, it may not worth what you think. Anyway, let's get back to Antoine.
Hatred breeds violence and creates the trauma
If
of
they know
memory.
who you are, then they can protect you.
But wait a minute.
Informing you of the death of Monsieur and Madame Cartier-Wells in the recent
The explosion was heard across Rio at 3 a.m. local time, although authorities have yet to pull the precise number on the phone. In fact, there has been a series of electricity and internet blackouts in the aftermath.
Pick up, where do you go? Magnetic resonance scanning is far the fuck out. Ventilator dead. Hey, I think we made it. You can't really do my life.
Promise you'll remember me? Promise you'll remember me?
Promise you'll remember me? You'll remember me? You'll remember me?
Promise you'll remember me?
As we hear, Antoine never really gets over the death of Molly. He's full of doubts because of the technology he had developed. He's not sure anymore if his original intentions are still part of what he had achieved. At the end of his life, Antoine is about 100 years old and almost blind. He dreams of the day back in San Francisco when he first met the love of his life and inspiration for his entire work, Molly. He can see her in the person of Nilin, even if he doesn't know why. But his journey isn't over. We will meet him again in a novel called The Pandora Archives, in Replay Remember Me episode 9. But before, we will take a look at Nilin in the comic Cubed, which I will introduce in the next episode. I'm looking forward that you will be with me. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all you have done to help to fight Alzheimer's disease, especially when you donate money. Every amount counts. Thank you, and have a great night.
For every task, there's a perfect tool.